What makes the Allman Brothers sound like the Allman Brothers is not just that it's amazing guitar playing and great songwriting, but it's a very specific sound. You know, whenever you hear that sound, you go, oh, that sounds like the Allman Brothers. And one of the main things is simply just major pentatonic, especially in a lot of those intros. And there's another thing. Often they add one particular note to the scale that's not originally in major pentatonic. And we'll look at that shortly. First, we're going to do 4 amazing Allman Brothers intros. Let's start with Blue Sky. So Blue Sky is in the key of E major, and we can hear that it is not the sound of E minor pentatonic, right? It doesn't have that kind of bluesy sound. It has a more sweeter sound, and we get that sound from major pentatonic. So how do we find major pentatonic? You've probably heard my video before on first finger pinky rule. First finger pinky rule means you can put your pinky on the E root, on the E string, and play easy shape from there. That's just shape 1, as you guys like to call it. But if we go just a little below that shape, we've got an E there, 7th fret of the 5th string, right? That would be the root of this nice E bar chord. Now, we have a very good common lick there. I like to call it the most useful lick. And in fact, that is the lick that they use in the intro from the root. That's sliding up to easy shape. That goes to the root again. That's just another root. We want to memorize where all our roots are in all our pentatonic shapes. And remember, since this is major pentatonic, the roots are in different places than they would be if it was minor pentatonic. So that's the root there. We're going root, sliding up to easy shape, and resolving on root again. And then effectively, what Dickie Betts does there is he does exactly the same lick from that root. But we're going up into extension shape now, right? So we're just combining the same lick twice in a row. There we go. Same thing, right? And now it's going to descend E major pentatonic. It's really not that complex. It's literally just the scale shape. A lot of people like to put a bend in here, but I think it's actually just a slide. When you listen closely to the studio version, I think it's a slide on the high E 10 to 12. So let's put that together so far. There's one more bit after this, but it goes... Cool. Now there's a little bit of a filler here, and sometimes people go... And sometimes people go... I don't know. There's 2 guitars at that moment. There's some jangling stuff in behind. It's kind of hard to hear exactly what it is, so whatever you like. Either... Or... That one's a little fancier, but I don't think it's actually what it is. So, all together. And you'll see the second time it's exactly the same thing. We just end on the root and we just stay there. So let's hear that with the jam track. Okay, our second amazing major pentatonic Allman Brothers intro is from Ramblin Man, and it's a different key. This is in the key of G, but again, it's G major pentatonic this time. You use major pentatonic. That is what sounds so Allman Brothers. So we're gonna figure out what would G major pentatonic be. We just gotta take our pinky. We're going to take a G way up here. This is 15th fret of the low E, and I'm going to play easy shape from there, right? And what would extension shape be just above that? That would be right here. So this is where that awesome descending line comes in, right at the top of the song. It's really just moving from extension shape G major pentatonic descending down into easy shape. It's not even outside of the scale at all. It's literally just the scale descending down. It's got a little pull off there, but not much else. I think major pentatonic is just such a cool sound that you don't even really need anything other than just the major pentatonic scale at that point. But they're going to fancy it up a little bit here. Two things happen. This is another aspect of the Allman Brothers, is that they often have harmony, two guitar parts playing in harmony, right? So that's one aspect of it. But the other aspect of it is that they often will add an extra note. Some people call this like the Dickie Betts trick. And if we think about this just for a second, there's a tiny bit of theory you got to do, but bear with me a sec. Major pentatonic has what notes in it? If it was G, it's got these notes. It's got G, A, B, D, E. 5 notes, right? It's pentatonic. And whenever we have a 5-note scale, that means we've removed something, because an ordinary scale is 7 notes. The one that we want to add back in here is the 4th. We don't have a 4th. And a 4th is it's really missing in a way, right? Because how many songs have the 4 chord? So if we're missing the 4th from the scale, we might want to add that back in, because that's the root of the 4 chord, and we're going to have a 4 chord in almost every song. So we want to add that 4th back in, and that's what they do on this lick. This lick sounds like this. So what's going on there? Remember, we are now in easy shape G major pentatonic, but that note is not in the G major pentatonic. It's not in easy shape, right? That note's a C, and if you think about it, G, A, B, C, that is the 4th right there. And it sounds so cool, right? It has just, I don't want to call it dissonance, but it has just a bit of a lift. And it resolves to that B note, which is in a G chord, so that's why it sounds like it resolves there. So that lick then, it's kind of hard to play that lick, actually. I kind of like to just bar it a little bit there. Otherwise, you can kind of move your first finger around a bit to get it. It's hard to play that one clean. Now, the extra thing about this is that there's harmony on it. Honestly, I can't remember who plays which part on this one, but we've got 2 guitar parts, we've got the harmony. So we've got the other guitar on top playing this cool line. Some people like to call that guitarmony, right? Combining the words guitar and harmony. You can think of it this way. If you have backup singers in your band, often the backup singers, let's say you got 2 people singing backup, they're not usually singing the same note, right? If one of them is singing a G, the other one might be singing a B. If you got 3 backup singers, you might have what's called 3-part harmony. So one would sing a G, one would sing a B, one would sing a D. All together, G, B, D, the 3 voices would form a chord. That's basically what we're doing with guitarmony as well, but we've got 2 guitars playing 2 different notes. Now, what are those notes? It depends. It depends on the riff. In this case, we're a 4th apart. The original part starts on D. The other part, the harmony, starts on G. So D to G is a 4th apart. And it sounds like that. Again, you might want to bar a bit of that to get it. And you'll notice that we still get that 4th in that lick, right? I used the bar to get that, or you could go up there, I guess. You could jump up to that ED there. That also works. Let's hear those together in harmony. Here's one of my favorite Allman Brothers intros, and this one uses that 4th again. It uses it so beautifully. It is such a great melody. And it seems like it's not thinking pentatonic as much. It's thinking more chord shape. The song's called Jessica, and it's in the key of A. So let's find what we want here. We want to find this, you could call it triad shape. You could think if this cowboy D moved all the way up, to 9, 10, 9. That would be an A chord, right? Because D, E, F, G, A. Another way to think of it is you could think of a major pentatonic here. But follow me here. I'm going to put my pinky on 12th fret of the A string in this case. So it's not 12th fret of the E string, it's 12th fret of the A string, which is A. But the first finger pinky rule means that since the root is on the A string, I don't have easy shape. I've got shape 4, what I call funny B string shape. That gives us a major pentatonic, right? And in fact, we can see that triad that I guided you to there is in that A major pentatonic shape. So they're kind of both the same thing. You could think of it as the triad, or you could think of it as the top of that shape 4 major pentatonic, whatever you like. I think the triad makes more sense because when you see the lick, it's going to turn into a sus4 triad. Sus4 because remember we're doing that Allman Brothers trick where we're bringing the 4 back into the major pentatonic. So again, think of it as the scale with the 4th in it, or you could think of it as the chord. Remember like a cowboy D sus4 that would be? Same thing works here, right? Same thing. So the lick, or let's just do the arpeggio first, it'll be like that. That's up to the 4. We can see that it actually does look like that standard cowboy D sus4 chord, right? And we can just picture that to play that lick. Now what happens is when we get to that 4, we're gonna hit it again and we're gonna bend it up a whole step. Now we gotta be careful, that pitch is really particular. So we want that to fit the chord perfectly because there's going to be 2 guitars harmonizing again, right? So we want to make sure that that bend is very accurate. And then we descend back through the arpeggio. Now we're going to move down. And in this case, it's interesting, we have the 4 brought back in again. That's why we have these half steps, and we don't really get these kinds of half steps in pentatonic scales, right? But we see that note there, that D, that's the 4, right? We're in the key of A, so the 4 is D. So we're walking from the 4 to the 3 to the 4 to the 5 again. That 5 resolves nicely. Again, with the chord, they like that 5th harmony as well. And then the second time they play it, it's just a variation of that. It resolves down to the root in this case, right? So it has even more resolve. So if I put those 2 together slowly, that is a great sound, right? Ending on the 5th and then ending on the root, but also just having that 4th added into the pentatonic scale, the major pentatonic scale. Now there is a harmony part on that intro, but we're gonna leave that one for this video because we still have one more amazing Allman Brothers major pentatonic intro, and that's for the song Melissa. This song is in the key of E, and the acoustic guitar actually uses these very cool chords. It starts with just a cowboy E major, and it does this really cool chord. Same strings, you just move the chord up, but you got to adjust to stay in key with the first finger there. And then, very 1970s to me. So the acoustic guitar is strumming that, and then we get... And so what is that riff? It is just descending E major pentatonic. So let's find our way again. Remember, whenever you learn a song, don't just remember the numbers. It's not just 14, 12, it's E major pentatonic extension shape. That's what will be here. right? And below it would be, if I put pinky on E, 12th fret of the low E, then it's just easy shape, right? It's shape 1. So we see that slide from extension shape, and then our root, right? We're ending on a root there, and we know that because we can hear that resolve, but also because we've memorized where the roots are in all our pentatonic shapes, like we do on our Patreon group, if you're a member there. Then you'll know that stuff. Now, let's play that a little slower, and then we'll do the final lick. So now it's already sounding Allman Brothers because it's major pentatonic, but we still got to get some fourth in there, right? So the vocal part starts, and then there's a little break just after the first line, and we hear... that's the 4 right there. Now, what we could do, and we're going to do this on our Patreon this week, is we could memorize wherever the 4s are in all of our pentatonic shapes. Just like you may have memorized where the blue notes are in the pentatonic shapes, right? If you think of any pentatonic shape that you know, especially easy shape, like minor pentatonic or whatever, you probably know where the blue note is. But we can just memorize the 4s as well. And in this case, major pentatonic, we're talking major pentatonic here, easy shape, the 4 would be there. That's one of the places for it anyway. And that's where we see it in this walk up. It is so melodic, and it's still very simple to play. It's not fast at all. But something about it being major pentatonic and something about it adding the 4th just sounds so Allman Brothers. It sounds so cool. Now, this one doesn't have harmony on it, but you could just keep in mind that whenever you need to sound Allman Brothers, you want major pentatonic. It's got to be a major key. Major pentatonic and the 4th. And if you got a buddy in the band who can play some harmony, you could add some harmony to it as well. So again, we're going to have all the tabs for this and some deeper dive into these concepts on our Patreon. Plus, I've got my new book out this week. It's called Fretboard Fundamentals, and it's now available on Amazon, so you can check that out. My name is Blue Morris, and I'll see you next week.